Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Friday. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well this season. I got a word for you. Tap in. So guys, I just came off of a hike, so I may be a little out of breath, but I want to share this while it's fresh in my spirit. I'm just one of those people, I have to share downloads when it hits my spirit. It's something about when I leave or I say I'll do it later, it leaves my spirit. Then too much flesh gets up in the way. All right, so it's prime time and it's prep time for many of you. It's prime time and it's prep time for many of you. Now, here's the thing. Here's something God had to make clear to me just now, because I don't know. I think because I'm naturally just a motivator, right? So I find myself wanting to kind of motivate people to grasp how big things are that God keeps showing me for many people who are waiting on a certain shift or elevation. But then God had to help me understand that honestly, that's not everybody. Okay? There's a certain group of people, and it's not even a large group. There's a certain group of people who are going to be elevated on a very, very high level. Some people are going to be elevated, but it might be more neighborhood, which is absolutely fine. Some people are going to be elevated where it might be more local. But then there's a number of you, God is going to use you nationwide, right? Internationally. So it just depends on what His will is for your life. Not only does it depend on what His will is for your life, it depends on how you are preparing for it. If you are even fluid enough to receive how big He wants to use you. Because see, God is going to only give you what you can handle. God is going to only give you what you can handle. This is why we go from level to level. So some of you who are at God have elevated you, think back. You weren't at this level, right? It started off with something, God trusts you with something small. Then you had to really go through some hell, right? A lot of warfare. Then you got elevated and then elevated and then elevated. So this is why God gives things in increments. Because He has to see where you are. Also, you may not be able to perceive and receive how big He wants to use you. Right now, God is looking, excuse me, God is looking for people that He can use in so many ways. Some of you guys are going to be kingdom financiers. Some of you guys are going to be behind the scenes prayer warriors, because some people are going to be used in such a major way. You're going to have a whole prayer team behind you. Like some of you guys are going to be used in missionary, right? Some of you guys, you get the point here. But however He's going to use you, it has to be for the glory of God. So you have to ask yourself right now, whatever you're doing right now. See, this is another reason why God is drying things up and we're not seeing increase in fruit any longer in a certain area. Ask yourself if what you're doing right now, is God glorifying that thing? If people can't see God in it, then it's not a God ordained. That's something you concocted, again, which is not a bad thing. I mean, we have our own goals, dreams, and desires. That's great. But I'm speaking right now about how God is wanting and needing to use people right now. God has to be centered in it. It doesn't mean it's perfect. It don't even mean that you're perfect, right? I don't even allow people to try to put labels on me, right? Like, you're this, you're a prophet, you're this. Listen, please, right? Whatever you see in me, all glory to God, all glory to God. But I'm so imperfect and I'm so authentic that I would never be the person who's trying to live this life on social media. Oh, I'm so sanctified, churchy, holy, and then I'm living behind closed doors, with a bottle of champagne. And then when somebody sees you, it's like, oh no, you're a hypocrite. No. Not here. Not here. I got a bottle of champagne right now in the back seat. Period. Right? I'm a realist. But here's where a lot of people go wrong. You're trying to live this life like you're so perfect, holy, holy. You want to judge somebody who may be in behind closed doors. You're living a lie. That's why God can't use you. Because you're not real. You're not authentic. You're a phony. God can't use phonies. So I would rather be an authentic person, making it clear as day. Listen, I'm not perfect. Period. I'm a work in progress. But my heart is pure. My spirit is pure. Right? My heart, my spirit, and this obedience game is on fleek. Period. God will work everything else out. Right? That's real. Boom, right in your face. People gravitate towards authenticity. Where they don't gravitate towards is when you're sitting here trying to be all perfect and side-eyeing people who are not, and then they find out something about you or catch you doing something that contradicts this perfection of a facade that you're trying to put on. God can't use you. You can fool them. This is going left because this is really deterring from what I'm going to say, but obviously God needs me to say this. I don't even know, because I'm not thinking about a particular person. I'm just speaking, right? But God can't use you. That's why you can't see no fruit. Because you're not authentic. You're judgmental. Back to what I was saying. Okay, as I was walking, right before the hike started, there were some birds, a whole group of them, right? Probably like 50. And someone had just dropped some seeds or whatever, so they were like all over on the other side doing their thing, eating. So I intentionally walked around on the other side because I didn't want to disturb them, because you know what birds, if you come over there, they're going to stop eating, then they're going to fly all over the place. So I walk intentionally all the way on the other side. And all of a sudden, I looked over and these birds just took off. So immediately I thought maybe someone else walked over in their path, but no one did. So they left their food. The food was still there. They left their food, and a flock of birds literally just kept circling around the pond. And I was like, I don't mind birds. I know some people are afraid of birds. I don't mind birds. But it was just I never seen it like that. They just kept in this big swarm. They just kept circling and circling and circling and circling. And then they all took position. There was half took position like on the power line. The other half took position on a building that was right across from the power line. So it looked like soldiers in the army, right? And I kept walking, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I'm looking at the scenery of it all, right? And then spiritually, I received this download that was so massive, and then that download continued throughout the hike. So some of you, you're going to be a big deal, right? And whatever way God uses you, because God already told you how he's going to use you. You're going to be a big deal. But then there's a lot of protection around you, right? This can look like prayer warriors. This might even look like protection, right? Like the president, that type of thing, right? But there's going to be you're so covered. So the birds were symbolizing, from what I got spiritually, was just like a protection, right? Now, mind you, at this point I was walking by myself, because I was walking to meet the group, but I hadn't reached the hiking area. Yes, I was by myself. So as I was walking on the sidewalk, the birds were just stationed. I mean, like a whole military group. They wouldn't move. They were just stationed as I walked through, like I was the president or something. And I'm just like, could y'all like maybe fly? Because I'm feeling a little uncomfortable, because y'all making me feel like I'm the stuff, right? And so God was really sharing with me that a lot of you, the reason why he's pruned a lot of the people is because you're going to have a team. Really, you're not going to have anybody. And this ain't for everybody. This is for a small group of people. You're not going to have, when it's all said and done, you're not going to have anybody in the sense of in your personal life like that. hear me well. You're still going to have friends. You're still going to have family. But I'm speaking about it's going to get so zoomed in when God starts opening certain gates that you're going to almost be too busy to try to consume old relationships. And this is why God is drawing things up now, because it's massive. This is all for the glory of God. Yes, your peoples will be there, but the birds I saw symbolize a team. And this is your God ordained team. God is going to bring partnerships together. This doesn't look like your friends. This doesn't look like your family. They have a place, but it's just not that place. They have a place in your life to be your family and be your friends, but it's over there. But when you're in this mission, it's going to be you, God, yourself, and your team. But your team is going to be something serious. Your team is going to be so powerful. It's almost like you wouldn't have to do anything. Your job is to do the will of God. That can be speaking. That can be financial investments for kingdom purposes. Whatever the assignment God has given you, that will be the only thing you have to tunnel vision on. Meaning your team holds everything else down. Your safety, the back end of the whatever, they're your seers, they're your this. Your only job, because some of you guys who God uses now, you're pulling like 1,000 different directions. Like, right, you're the this, you're the that, you're the this. You got people pulling at you left or right. Got people stressing you out. You got people, like, your team's going to be able to handle all that. Like, it's almost like people are going to have to go through your team to get to you. So that big heart that you got, that we, especially my empath got, well, we don't, it's almost like we don't even want you to go through the team. We want to be the one, because you have to see us, you have to smell us, and you have to touch us in order to get, and we're just right there like, oh, we're just, Not anymore. Not anymore. And this is also why God is desensitizing you right now to the things that used to affect you emotionally. You don't even care anymore. You don't care about people's reactions to your boundaries any longer. Where before, that would drive you insane. You don't care anymore. You really don't care. It's like God... God is desensitizing you, because that's what's going to happen. But don't worry, he's going to help you be okay with that, because you're going to start feeling like, well, no, because I want to be so transparent and I want to always be authentic. You will be. But it's you ask God to use you, and the way God is going to use you next is going to be so big that he's going to give you grace to be desensitized when it comes down to people who are super emotional, and they don't, now hear me well. The people he's going to give you grace to kind of let just kind of fall to the wayside, right? And he'll just have to deal with them in his own way. He'll help them however, if they want to be helped, I guess. But these are the people who are weighing you down. These are the people who refuse to put the work in. These are the people who want to keep trying to hold you to a certain level, and they can't appreciate you. They can't receive you where you currently are. These are going to be the people where you're now desensitized to, where now you're trying to save these people. You're trying to save their feelings. You're trying to save this and save that, and that stuff will cease, because the mission is too big. You could have do that last season, but some of you, I don't even think you, well, some of you know, because you're tapped in. It's big. It's big. It's like presidential big, but not the president. Then again, somebody maybe, I don't know, right? But it's big. And God wants us to start preparing for it now. We are, but he's calling us to prepare more. Because as I started the hike, that's one thing I kept getting this download about, was to make sure I speak on prep. And I'm like, well, Lord, I think people who are tapping, they're prepping. He's like, no, prep big. Think big, right? You're prepping on some old low-level stuff, right? You're prepping. He probably was talking to me, right? I'm sure he was. Because he keeps saying that we're not thinking big enough. So it's almost like we're in 7th grade and we're preparing for our 7th grade exit exam, and we're preparing to go to 8th grade. He's like, no, prepare to go from 7th grade to college. Shut it down. Whatever plans you got, shut it down. Start investing in financial courses. Speaking of that, because you guys know that's not really, it's not a common thing, I guess, where a lot of people in our community, make a long story short, someone who I like listening to is Dave Ramsey. First of all, he know the Lord. First and foremost, he know the Lord, so he speaks from finances, from a spiritual aspect, things like that. But Dave Ramsey, if you can't afford like financial courses, if you're not the numbers person, I am not. I say this all the time. I got some very, very strong areas. Numbers is just, well, let me stop saying that, because I don't want to keep saying that, because God is changing some things. But Dave Ramsey on YouTube, if you can't afford certain things, we can't, God does not even allow us to make excuses anymore, right? We want to say things like, well, I can't afford to take up a course in the community college for finances. I promise you, whatever area God is calling you to, put it in your YouTube search, and God will literally guide you and direct you to a particular person or persons who is specifically for you. Because I mean, you can have 30,000 videos come up, but the Holy Spirit will guide you where God wants you to focus. So it's time to get serious. It's time to like this. I think this is why too, well, this is a download I got too. A lot of people is not going to make it. It's not because they don't have that fire in them. It's more so less that they're not going to be prepared. They're not willing to sacrifice enough to prepare, is what I should say. They're not willing to sacrifice enough. Whatever God has been pressing on you, God has been telling you to work on your credit. Work on your credit, right? You're going to the mall this weekend, honey. You got your credit card in your hand. You ready to go and buy up the mall with your credit card, right? He's telling you to work on your finances and your credit. If he's been telling you to work on saving more money, if he's been telling you to work on leader. Now, I definitely get hit with this. Work on your leadership skills. And how to work well within the team. Child, let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. Work on your leadership skills and how to work well within the team. A transparent moment. Here was my issue. Just gonna be honest, right? I am one of these people who used to be, God have really, really worked on me in this area. If I'm working within the team, right, everybody in the team, and I have to, right, I'm in healthcare, right, but it's almost like with me, it's easier for me to do it if you're not doing it correctly, versus taking time out to help you understand it more, help you to perfect it more. And I do that. I have to do that. But it's still something about when I do that several times and you're still not getting it to a certain, then I'm going to just do it. Like, I won't even let you know or hurt your feelings about it. I'm just going to do it. And that's not how we can move, because you're going to have so much stuff that's already heavy on you. And you're going to have a specific role. Whatever God is telling you how he's going to use you, that is going to be your specific role. So your team is going to have to be able to do the things that they are hired or required to do. The key, I think, to that is either God is going to maybe give me more patience to be able to, or what he's going to do is, no, this is why it has to be kingdom ordained people that we wait on, because these people will just get it. It will be a natural fit. You won't have to keep repeating yourself 30,000 times about why aren't you to work on time. Right? You won't have to keep doing that. These people are going to be positioned accordingly. But this is why you got to let him move whoever he's moving, and then bring and receive whoever he's bringing and receiving. Stop running people off because of your own triggers. God is bringing you good peoples right now, and you're sitting here and you're side-eyeing these folks because this definitely ain't me, but I already know how those trauma triggers can work. God's bringing you good people, and because everything's going so great, you're now trying to concoct some kind of lie about, I think they're a demon. I think the enemy sent them, right? I think he's no good because we just met 3 weeks ago and this is the first time he didn't answer his phone and something ain't right. He's just like my ex. Let me just go ahead and block the number already. Stop running off good people. People are going to miss their God-ordained destiny because they keep. I just heard Pastor Bishop Sam say this the other day. You're constantly burning bridges versus building bridges. But the funny thing about it, you want to hold on to the ones that God is removing. Ain't that crazy? Child, we are just all over the place as people. We want to hold on to the people that God is removing. And then afraid to embrace the ones that he is sending. And that ain't backwards. Child. But anyway, so when I came back from off the hike, I was like, oh, when I get to my truck, I'm gonna make this video. I can't wait to tell them, God says it's gonna be big. All y'all ain't gonna go because you're not gonna prepare effectively, and some of y'all are just, you're gonna limit yourself because you're too afraid. God says you're going to be afraid. It's going to scare you. It's going to be similar to like a person who's running for president, right? He can run all he wants all day long, but that's something you never did. That's way over your head, right? You're probably telling yourself, well, I ain't gonna win anyway, right? You're fooling yourself. But when it happens, that's huge. So it's going to be big. It's going to be over your head. It's going to scare you. So a lot of people are going to start scaling back. And God is not going to keep trying to right? He needs you to receive it. He needs you to grasp it. He needs you to say, listen, it is what it is. Let's ride. But he just don't have the time to keep trying to work on you, because that's what the whole process was about. See, we've been thinking low in the process the whole time. You sitting here thinking God is preparing you for a kingdom spouse, right? Which I'm sure that will happen, right? And that will be a part of your team. But that just wasn't it. If that's the case, why haven't the kingdom spouse come yet? Because it's more. It's that, but it's more. So he may have not brought the spouse yet because he needs you to understand that it's more. So you're still capping it. It's almost like, well, I'm going to just sit here and wait for the man to knock on my door, drop off some milk somewhere, and maybe that's going to be him. No, you're capping it. You got to be open. Like, okay, God says he's going to send me a kingdom spouse or partnership. Okay, great. When that comes, that comes. God timing is the best timing. Until then, what's up? What's next? There's more. God already told you got a spouse for you. That's done. That's done. So stop even asking God. God said stop harassing his nerves about the kingdom spouse. That's already done. God can bring that man to you or that woman to you literally in the next second. Literally, if he wants to. He's God. Why can't he bring you that? Because it's already done. But you're still not receiving all the insight you need on how he's going to use you guys. Right? You need to know this before. So, as I was walking back, you can tell me those birds are not going to harass their nerves somewhere and maybe find some more bread somewhere. Tell me why. Those birds, now mind you, they left the food that they were eating when I first walked through. They never finished that food. See, God is supernatural. What bird going to leave food on the ground and just sitting up on a electric line, just like some Marine soldiers? God is supernatural on the way he gives us our downloads and how he speaks to us, especially because we're so darn distracted with everything else. We got our cell phones, you got people in your ear, you got this person calling you, this person needs you, this person. So he speaks to you very supernaturally, but don't discard it because it's just like, no, that's just a coincidence. That's God. So as I was walking back, the birds are still there. There are about 50 of them on one line. The other 50 is across on the building top. So they're literally lined up, same height and everything. just standing there. Like some Marine soldiers just standing there. And I was like, Lord, I gotta walk back through like I'm the president. So I'm walking down the sidewalk and and as soon as I got to the end of the sidewalk, they took off. And they started just circling back on top of the pond. And I was like, Lord, this is powerful. This is powerful. And then Coach Prime popped into my spirit. You guys know I really, really admire Coach Prime. Deion Sanders. And all I can hear, like, y'all know how Coach Prime be walking out on the field, and then his team is behind him, and that's how I kept getting that God was saying that it's a team. I mean, other than the birds, I got the vision clear as day as Coach Deion Sanders, Coach Primetime, walking out on the field. Because typically he comes out first and then his team is behind him, and then, let it be his players, and then his, I guess maybe his assistants or whatever. Like, they're all behind him, but he's walking. Like, that's how God had me to picture it. You're a big deal. And that team's going to be so solid behind you, but it ain't going to really be your family. I mean, of course, he got his sons, so some of his family are there, but you might, I don't know, you might have some people's, your family or whatever, but it ain't gonna be the ones that's pulling from you. It ain't gonna be the ones who's ready to go higher. It ain't gonna be the one who's harassing your nerve about some old petty foolishness. But whoever it is, honey, ain't gonna have your back. You're a big deal, and you gotta be so. If you haven't seen Coach Prime walk out on his field, just maybe go to YouTube or something like that and just Google it. You will see how focused. You got people around him who are yelling. Let it be from the other team who are yelling some nonsense. Let it be the supporters. But he's focused. Even with that team behind him and they're jumping up and acting a fool, he is focused. That's how it has to be. You're a big deal. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know how rare it is? So that's how you know you got to put the work in. You can't just be doing what the average person is doing. You got to put some work in. So whatever God has been pressing upon you to do, to prepare for the promise, right? Because again, whatever he's calling you to, there's prep work that has to be done for it. Now, granted, you're not going to know, some things you're not even going to know till you get there, but God will teach you along the way. But if he's telling you now to start taking financial courses, do it. If he's telling you now to start taking marital counseling, even though you're single, take the there's something he knows that you don't know. You gotta prepare. See, people want to always see something before they move. That's not faith. That's not how God works. I promise you, me, child, please, I ain't got to see nothing. I ain't got to see nothing. Let me get that download in my spirit. I'm bouncing, period. I don't have to see anything, but let me get that download and that spiritual nudge and prompting in my spirit. I'm bouncing, period. That's faith, though, because most time you're not going to see it, and then I always see it. I always see it. It comes after the fact, but you got to move first. You got to move on your conviction. You got to move on your obedience. You got to move on your discipline first. I'd rather be at lunch right now. Right? Supposed to be at lunch, actually. But nope. I'm on a hike. Speaking of that, y'all need some energy. You don't got time to talk about your knees hurt. You don't got time to talk about you got to sit down and take a break because, the layover was too long and now you got to walk a half a mile to get to the other side of the airport. Get your energy up right now. You guys have a great weekend. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.